So today is June 5th. I'm Madison West, a 2D animator, and I'm head of creative on my group's project. It is a 2D animated film, and it is Help, I Have Tons of Work, but I'm a Magical Girl, a bit of a working title. But the basic premise is our main character, Joe, is a really worn down, worn out businessman, salaryman, but and he resents magical girls because all their destruction and hijinks cause him a lot of paperwork. They go off on adventures, him reluctantly because he keeps getting pulled away from his work, and their adventures keep causing him even more paperwork that he has less time to work on, and it all builds until he has to fight his own monster, manifestation of his own insecurities and self-worth, and to defeat it, he has to learn how to let go of others' perception of him, which is a bit hard when you're running around in a pink frilly dress with your hairy legs out. At the moment, we're deep into week 2, and at this point, we've gotten story beats mostly down, script drafts are happening, we've collected some concept art of the characters and a few scenes now, so things are really getting the ball rolling. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jada and today is June 24th. I am a character designer, background designer and animator. These were my early concept designs for our magical girls. Obviously, they're not the designs we're going with. We have headed more in this direction in terms of art style. Well, it's similar to what I did in the beginning. It is with its slight differences to give more definition to the characters' faces. We wanted to give more characterization to the hair to really make the characters stand out and to showcase their personalities. These have been our most recent done by Maddie. These were early character designs done by Michael for Star. These were very early Joe drawings to fit the same sort of anime style before we did decide to go Western with Joe. It emphasizes his sort of personality with how bland he is and straight to the point.
Today is the 1st of July. My name is Maz and I am an animator and head of scripting for this project. So the writing process has been really good. Everyone has really good ideas. Every week we have a new script that I'll bring to the team. All the script writers will add their ideas to that script. So far we're up to draft 9.3 if I remember right. Some major changes we've had include the entire ending, where originally he just threw the briefcase at the monster. Now it ends up him shoving the monster's balls into a paper shredder. Everyone's been contributing really well. We have about 9 members on the team and we've got 4 script writers, sorry. But the entire group's been adding their 2 cents on the script, which has been really good.
Hi, I'm Lucille Bell. It's the 15th of the 7th, 2025, and I'm directing I Have Tons of Work and Now I'm a Magical Girl.
Hi, my name's Kata. I'm one of the co-directors for our animated project I Have Tons of Work and Now I'm a Magical Girl.
I Have Tons of Work and Now I'm a Magical Girl follows Joe, a very bland, average man, just works for a corporation that runs the magical girls of the city. So these magical girls kind of work like the Avengers. They deal with saving the city from monsters. And one day, the head magical girl crashes right onto Joe's desk and dies, and he becomes the magical girl. So he has to face that new feeling of the new responsibility while also facing wearing a dress and a pink leotard for the first time. He sticks to grey, so it's very big and new for him.
So the genre of our animated film is sort of like an action comedy.
In line with Adult Swim, Cartoon Network.
Have I ever directed before? No, I've never directed before. So this is a very much a first time experience?
Yes, this is my first time directing a big group project like this, and I'm having a lot of fun. I think I'm really suited for the role.
I've sort of led other smaller uni projects, but never a full-on director role.
So the other projects I've directed have been self-projects, my favorite one being Ruined Rock, which is about me and my best friends going on a camping trip.
Co-directing with someone else is very interesting. It's great because I don't have to have full responsibility for everything.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for Katie to be co-directing with me. So I've got a lot of energy and she's got a lot of brains.
Lucy and I, we just bounce ideas off each other, and we each have our own strengths and weaknesses, which I think play very well into helping our production be what it is today.
We've got 9 people.
8 of us animating, and then our 9th person, Jordan, is our sound designer, who's done such an amazing job with everything. Thank you for taking on that role, if I'm being honest. Throughout our production, we've had a lot of team meetings.
We have them twice a week, and we're always talking over Discord as well.
Everyone is totally on the ball with everything. You know, we keep everyone updated. We all just check in with one another, making sure we're not burning out or going insane, or we still look healthy and whatnot.
Our meetings are always really fun and very productive.
It's just amazing being able to work with everyone and such an amazing group of people.
I have had so much fun exploring the city. At first we were using a fictional city called Futiger, but we've chosen to have the city be inspired by Melbourne CBD. It's where we all live. We can target the market more closely. Background designers get to have a lot of fun taking real inspiration. And I had so much fun on Google Maps Street View, seeing the city in the 2000s. I played with a few different locations, and honestly, a bit selfishly, my favorite locations in the CBD. So I first wanted the Galaglitz, the Magical Girls HQ, to be at Carlton Gardens, but it was a bit too far out of the city. So ultimately, I decided on taking over Parliament House and having the city be on Exhibition in Burke. So next time you're walking down Exhibition in Burke, know that there's a big boss battle happening in an alternate universe. So last week, I took the crew down as much as we could, and we explored the city and we walked through. It's a lot of fun. I think picking the real location was a great idea. So the marketing for this film is going to be pretty immersive. We're going to have some teaser posters all around the city so that while you're walking around, you kind of go, oh, is there something happening in my city? What? And so our Instagram page is actually Studio Starduzt magazines, which in universe is the top teen magazine, like gossip magazine, covering all things Galaglitz. So there's always paparazzi images of our characters, and you get to learn about them as if you were in Tiger City. Our LinkedIn is a lot more professional, and our website is where we merge that professional networking with the super creative immersiveness of the Instagram. It's super fun. We've also got a Ko-Fi. If you donate, you can have a chance to be part of the film as one of Joe's co-workers, and you might get a piece of our big monster, quite literally. So at the moment, we're working on teaser magazine covers, taking very much big inspiration from teen girl gossip magazines of the early 2000s that I loved reading. We are finishing our storyboards, ready to create the animatic.
Today is Thursday, the 25th of September, 2025. My name is Matthew, and I am a storyboard artist and animator at the wonderful Studio Starduzt. We've relied solely on the script, and it was our foundation for idea generation. What angles to use, transitions. There was a lot of thumbnails created, and the best way to refine them was seeking feedback from other members. Our main goal was to deliver a better narrative with a shorter runtime. We created a lot of thumbnails, such as these. I love this impact frame. I thought it was really cool, and I'm glad that everyone else thought the same way. This whole process while we were thumbnailing, it was definitely messy. However, it was the most fun I had when it came to storyboarding. My favorite shot, it would definitely be Sun just ready to swing her hammer from the top ropes, just ready to absolutely decimate. The biggest change was the removal of sequence where there would be a montage. Joe would be getting a call from his boss after crashing into an object. This happened in the middle of a fight. It ends with Sun grabbing his phone, just really angry at what's happening, and just throws it.
Joe speaking. Sorry, could you call back in? Sorry, that was just my kid. Dog, can you...
Our members were really excited to actually animate this and put this in the narrative. Sadly, over time, we started removing a lot of shots that were a part of this montage, and at some point, we realized that there wasn't really much to make a montage of because it was just one sequence at that point.
Today is the 2nd of October. I'm Madison, or Maddie, and I'm the head of creative for our project I Have Tons of Work and our Magical Girl. So a style guide, or style bible, is a collection of all references and guides related to how our project will look. That goes from the style of line work, how thick it is, how pointy it is, our colours, to the kinds of shapes and forms we're using to build our characters and the worlds around them. There are some important rules to remember while drawing specific characters. I have a sheet specifically for Sun's design notes. Actually, this rule goes for both Sun and Moon, that the point in which their hips cinch, like the torsos meet their waist, that's the bottom of the belt, and that line should always match up. Good for consistency, but also helps with building the forms of them. And also for Sun, her pigtails are pretty similar throughout all angles. You can really just kind of squish and stretch them. And a final note I have on this sheet is that to kind of treat her sleeves as a 2D image over her arm rather than like a 3D cone going over them. And this was just another simplification for production, but also to fit within the kind of harsh stylization that I'm taking inspiration from the early to late 2000s cartoons. A height chart is very important, especially to a production like this where we have big monsters compared to our very much smaller citizens. A mouth chart too, just so everyone remembers the style of the teeth. They're just bars in this one. Only exception to the bar rule, our drunk man monster. The way this is set up is that each person is going to lead the keyframes for a character, and then another person will be doing the in-betweens. Having one person do the keyframe means that the character will consistent in all the keyframes, and then switching people through the in-betweens. Make sure that not every character looks exactly like one person's style. We're passing things around to try and still even things out. Yeah.
So today's date is the 30th of October 2025, a day before Halloween. Very excited. My name is Meg. I am a prop designer, and I've also done the social media for the production. The main social media platforms we use are obviously Instagram, very important. Our age demographic is around 15 to 30, so Instagram is what they mostly use. Then you've got our TikTok page, as you can see here. We have not as many followers. That being said, once we post more video stuff, this will improve. We also have LinkedIn, which is our oldest. It was created first. It's very important to connect within the industry with other smaller animations as well. We have our studio Starduzt YouTube, which has only been created more recently. That being said, once our trailer is posted, this will be a very important platform. We have the main poster for our production, so you can see it on the screen there. We have the main character, Joe, we have Sun, we have Moon, we have Madge, and we have the properly formatted credits. We also have a QR code, which people will be able to scan, which will take us to the website, which was created by Cater. Very good. So the poster obviously introduces a lot of people to our main characters, gets a bit of a feel for the genre. That's the most important thing. We also have other stuff to conform within this idea. So one of the earliest ideas we had was to create our social media in the idea of a magazine company. As this is a piece of media set in the early 2000s, we really wanted to make sure we kept that feel and that vibe and that spirit of the time we really enjoyed, which includes stuff like teen magazines. You can see Madge here on the screen. It's posed like paparazzi pictures, and we have a bio explaining who he is as if they were real characters. So this is what you would call a bit of meta narrative, that it's made for the audience watching it, but it also could exist within the film. Some other types of posts we have are the meme posts. We have comedic drawings, and most of these, if not all of them, are also on our TikTok. The video ones are on the YouTube. We have this, was created by Kata. We have the meme format of the Supernatural and Barbie characters, if you've seen it. And these posts, they tend to do a little bit better than ones just simply advertising the characters or showing behind the scenes. The last type of posts we have are just generalized work in progress shots. You can see this is a clean line art shot that I created, and we've just posted that to get engagement. This did quite well. I'm pretty sure it got 1.1k, which is, you know, pretty good, whereas on TikTok didn't do quite as well. That being said, TikTok is a bigger hill to climb. I noticed something that was very popular on TikTok, especially for smaller creators, is style swap. What you do is you draw your own OCs or your characters in the style of a different production. This works well, mainly because you're hopping off the back of a pre-existing IP. So like, say if you're drawing your favorite OC in the style of Monster High, all the Monster High fans are going to come along and see your original character, and it gets you a bit of a boost. Rather, if you're just using the hashtags of your own production, doesn't tend to do as well. So as you can see here, I've drawn one of Moon in the style of Sailor Moon. And, you know, this did a lot better than our previous TikTok posts. You can also see it's got the typical thing of slowly erasing it, you know, building up the excitement for that. It's a good gag, just, you know, make it a bit longer, get the screen time up. So yeah. Originally we had this character named Frank. He was some boss type character, and there was talks over whether either he would be holding his mug or he would steal Joe's mug. So we weren't quite sure how the mug would be used at this stage. But I wanted to make it look like, you know, some generic sort of cringy office mug. You know, you got Glam Fam, since the company is called Glamour Glitz. A little bit cringe. Then I'm the #1 employee. All I got with this stupid mug, you know, with some generic sort of like spacey magical girl vibe stuff on it, going for that cringe vibe yet again. And then we have one that's a bit more sort of earnest, Glamour Glitz, the home of magic, with a logo. We needed it to be more in the style of the production, which was very 2000 inspired and very sharp. So we've moved from the Glam Fam design with the straight edge to the sharper design on the right, just everything being sharp corners, and then the new Glamour Glitz logo was on it there, and then we have the rotation of it. As for the phone, regrettably, I don't think this makes a appearance at all, which is fine. Something that happens with prop design is you'll often design props, and sometimes they'll be specifically for a scene, and that scene will not make the final cut. That being said, it's still interesting to see how they are created to fit in with the art production style. So originally, we wanted to have the influence of anime and more Western cartoons. So you can see I've grabbed references from anime on the left, and then on the right, we have more Western designs. And I was going for something very thick and chunky and very round, just to contrast with the rest of the character designs. And then this was just the turnarounds for it, really. You have the size compared to the hand, you have the side view, you have your back 3/4, your front 3/4, all those fun details, and some ideas for effects animation if it was to ring. Unfortunately, did not make it through, but these things happen. What did make it through is the briefcase. This is very important to the narrative, as it really represents Joe's struggle, the complications he faces within the narrative. It's represented by literal baggage. So for this, originally, I did try some different designs. I did some more stylized, like a curvy one. I did more of a leather sort of office worker one. I did a more zip up one in the middle there, and on the right, I went for this, what I imagined to be a suitcase, very sharp, very stylized. And as we went with the stylized design, this was expanded. You've got the side view, the front view, the view of it when all the paper just comes exploding out of it, as this was an important part of the narrative. I wanted to really stress that it isn't a square cube, it is angular. It's like a rhombus. It's like someone's grabbed a normal suitcase and just shaved down those sides. So you can see that in the no versus yes. No, it's not a prism. Yes, it is shaved down. You look at things like a simple armchair and you would think in a production, surely no one needs to think about what an armchair looks like. That's not important. It is. So you've got the anime style chair, which looks very 3D, a lot more closer to realism. In the middle, you have a bit of a mix where I've made the back of it look flat, but then the bottom of it a bit more 3D. And then all the way cartoon on the right, inspired by things like Clone High and the Powerpuff Girls very flat design, which is what we ended up going with. I've specifically asked for no corners, you can see in the top left guide. No corners necessary. We really want it to look very overly flat and stylized, as you can see here, with colors as well. We do have the car. Now, this is from a scrapped scene. Didn't quite make it due to the work with the pacing. It slowed things down when really we should keep that momentum going. That being said, it was still plenty fun to design. I've never really drawn a car prop before, so it's very important to have reference. For this reference, I've picked what I believe was a Commodore from, I want to say, somewhere between 2004 to 2007, inspired very loosely by my childhood car that my parents had. It just feels very authentically 2000s. The thing with it, though, is it's a very round car, so I wanted to square it off. And so I tried a bit more detailed angular, low poly angular, and then overly rounding it, something akin to Chris Sanders' Lilo and Stitch designs. But we ended up going with the low poly angular originally before scrapping the scene later on, which you can see it's very overly sharp, fitting in with the rest of the props. The last prop that I personally designed myself is the shredder. There was a bit of a debate over whether to show the clear pieces of paper inside, because obviously a shredder looks most like a shredder when you see this paper. That being said, it's a lot more effort to animate all those tiny little bits of paper wandering around within it, right? So I also created a design that showed no paper and a design that just showed a little. It was very much, I imagined to be like bin-sized, something around that size. However, when Joe decides to put the Joe's Monsters tie into this shredder, it obviously doesn't make sense for this giant gargantuan monster to have his, dick tie penis, whatever you want to call it, shoved into something like the size of a bin, right? And I created this wider design, which is basically just the same thing. I've just widened out those edges more and made it bigger. I wanted to make sure it had the pink notes of the logo and the pink buttons, just to give it still that touch of magical girl, despite the fact it is an Office Place product. And I called it Shreddy because I thought that was funny. Like other cartoons have said like the Shredder 2000s or the Shredmobile, and I thought, I don't know, Shreddy's kind of cute, so I liked that. So Star's weapon concept, it was made to kind of be bold, I believe, and very much forthcoming, as she's the leader of the group, right, before her untimely demise. And so she had this sort of, I'm not sure what you call it, like a mace sort of thing with little spikes about it, which Star's a spiky, makes sense, and she would kind of flail that around, I imagine, if she wasn't busy being killed. We also have the arrow weapon, which is very much to suit Moon. It's to look like a moon. You've got the phase of the moon in that version of it. I believe the more crescent shape on the left is what we went with. For Sun's hammer, it was originally sort of more tapered like a bow. Now I believe it's more sort of drum shaped. The one in the bottom right, I think, if it isn't the one we went with, it's pretty similar. And again, just trying to keep in that sun shape and keep it specific to her character, keep it thematic. The one on the bottom right is obviously the most explosive looking with all those lines in the middle near the staff. So that was the one that was went with as well. While there are other minor props, these were the main ones to really have to be shaped towards the needs of our production.
Today's date is the 6th of November. My name is Michael Cassar, and I am the animation director for Studio Stardust on I Have Tons of Work, and Now I'm a Magical Girl. An animation director, basically their role, encompasses, go figure, the direction of an animation. So the form that's been taking mostly for me in this sense has been writing up guideline documents for our animation, naming conventions, and how we're going to be organizing our files between each other. Say, once one animator is done, how does that file then get to the next animator? That's all written down in a document, which we all follow mostly to a T. So the programs we're using are Toon Boom Harmony mainly for the animation, and that's just for drawing the characters and putting the scenes together. And then we're using, after that, After Effects to put all of those files together, and then eventually all that's going to be edited together using Premiere Pro. In general, all of our animators have multiple characters they're assigned to. At most, that's about 2 or 3 in this case. Those characters are animated by generally the same group of people throughout. So someone does the keyframes for, let's say, Moon. Another person is assigned to do the in-betweens of that. But those two animators at some point are eventually both going to work on the shots with Moon. It's been important to make sure everyone has sort of similar characters, or even if they're not similar characters, they're just sticking with their main characters. So normally their second character assigned, if that's like drastically different in design or whatever, that shouldn't matter too much because they've been spending that time working on the keyframes and then the in-betweens, and that should all round out to a mostly consistent product. But a lot of that in general has been consistent in any case, thanks to the incredible work by our creative director, Madison. That has been a major help in keeping everyone consistent, especially with their own assigned characters. So the different stages of animation. First you've got keyframe, and then you've got in-between, and then you've got tie down, and then you've got cleanup. So first off, keyframe is just the big movements, right? Say if I'm throwing something, the big movements would be getting ready to throw, middle of throw, then end of throw. And then when you're doing the in-betweens, that's, well, as it sounds, the in-betweens. So you've got the major motion, and so you do middle motion, and then fill that out with however many to make it a smooth motion. And then after that, you've got the tie downs, which up to this point, you should not have been doing super clean drawings up to a professional standard. That is really not clever. What you'd be doing at that point is you're working on them in a rough stage. So like very rough, say just scribbles. And at that point, the tie down stage is when you're going to be cleaning that up a bit. The tie down is just tying down the drawings in order to match closer to both the reality of the movement that you're making and the style of the characters that you're creating. And then you finally got the cleanup stage, where that's just cleaning it up further beyond the tie down. So this is the stage where you'd normally see, like on television, you'd be seeing that's the cleanup on the final screen. That's us doing the lines and all that to a much higher standard than any of the previous stages. And then once that's all done, there's a whole other stage of compositing where you render out the images and then you put them all together in a different software like After Effects, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of the glitter effects there and like flashy backgrounds have been done in After Effects, and that's where we're putting those together. Mostly thanks to our amazing project director, Lucy Bell. She does amazing work with the effects frames. I think people are really going to like it. We are up to the clean line stage. In the last week or so, we finalized the tie down stage, and everyone at this point is going full steam ahead on cleaning up the animation. So this is a shot I've been working on. Currently I've got the rough animation frames highlighted. I have done some clean line, but I just want to show the rough animation to sort of show how it moves. That's that, in essence. The monster leans forward and looks down. A lot of work there. You wouldn't think so. I've got a fair few clean line stage, so I will highlight now the clean lines and hide the rough frames. So if I play through this once, there it goes, looks down, and then nothing in between because I'm still working on cleaning up most of the in the middle frames. So I will actually do a little bit of that now and demonstrate some of the techniques we've been using in order to clean up the animation. One of the main ways we've been keeping consistent line art, we've been using this feature called the onion skin, which basically it shows the previous frame and the frame after the frame that you're currently working on. So that lets you keep consistent between frames, especially in a movement like this, where the character's moving forward. So you want to make sure that that keeps an even pace in the middle. So that's why currently I'm working on the direct middle frame within the timeline view. One way we've been keeping consistent is we've been using shortcuts. Normally when you draw, you can draw freehand like that. And that's how I've been doing some details such as the eyelid here. Because when you do animation freehand, no matter how perfectly you line it up, something's always going to be a bit off. Maybe you notice it, maybe no one else notices it ever, but you'll notice it forever, so it's going to bother you like that. So what we've been doing is we've been using these drawing tools along with line tools, which allows us to draw straight lines like this. Now you may be wondering, well, that's not rounded at all. That doesn't match the eyes at all. Well, it's simple, where we use the contour editor here, the white arrow tool to touch these lines and shift them to fit within our preferred shape. Now, this isn't perfect. More often than not, you'll try to adjust the lines and their curvature, and they'll just not do what you want them to. You try to push it a certain way or move it further along, and then the rest of the line sort of curves in a way you don't want it to. So that was an intentional doing of that, but sometimes that sort of thing happens where you push it one way and then it just decides, no, I'm pushing another. A fair few times when the lines cross over, and then I've just taken this tool, which is the cutter tool, and then cut out these bits of the drawing. So if I want this arm joint to be a solid shape, there's the solid shape. But if I want to keep the circulature of the monster's body in line with that, then I want to draw the whole line. But then of course there's that there. So that's when you take the cutter tool, cut through that line, and now you've got the full shape without any need to rejig or like painstakingly erase with the eraser tool.
Hey, I'm Jordan, Studio Stardust lead sound designer and casting director. So to find our voice actors, I wrote up a description of our overall project to give people an idea as to what we want to make. And I wrote up a description of each character, like how we want them to sound, their characteristics, their personality, and stuff like that. We ended up getting 66 auditions, and I personally watched over all of them. And whenever I found some ones that really stuck out, I brought them back to the team and I showed them. And together, we decided who we wanted to shortlist. And we ended up finding quite a few people who we thought would be able to do a really good job playing each character. And it was so interesting being able to hear everyone's personal interpretation of these characters that we spent so much time designing and writing and drawing. It was a really interesting experience, actually. Every person we decided to shortlist, we believed that they would have done a very good job on working on our project. But unfortunately, we do have to pick one person per role. And we picked our cast. For Joe, we got a guy called Asher, who is really good at doing a very insecure and just over-the-top voice of just a guy who's just really nervous all the time and just doesn't want to be there.
I had one chance, and because we've been out here doing this sparkle shit, I'm going to lose my job. It's the one thing I was trying to hold on to.
For Mags, we actually found an actor who originally auditioned for Joe, but after hearing his voice, I suggested, do you want to audition for Mags? Because we think you could actually do a pretty good job with them. And we ended up casting them. That was Dustin.
Where do you think you're going? Your quota can wait.
We thought he sounded exactly like how we wanted the character to sound and how we imagined him to be in our heads. For Moon, we found an Australian voice actor who did a really good job at a very sort of subtle and low-key character who's very quiet and very blunt and straight to the point. We thought Anna would do a really good job at this.
Not the first time she's slept in.
After I heard Anna's audition, I knew immediately that I wanted her to play Moon. She had a very wide range when it came to characters when we were listening to her demo reel, and that definitely influenced my decision. Now for Sun, we had a voice actor called Jenna, and we actually know her personally. She's been very helpful to our team and she's been giving us advice as she had just completed an animation with her crew called Office Place, which has been really successful and it turned out amazing. And we really thought her voice would very suit this character. Sun is a very boisterous and over-the-top, very confident person.
Yeah, who's this dweeb? What's he gonna do? File the monsters away?
And when we heard her give it a shot at what she thought the character could sound like, we knew instantly that we really liked her. We have a character, and he's sort of like a drunk antagonist who sort of heckles the main character at the start of the film.
It's those girls! They got glitter in my eye, boy! Can't you see?
While we were reading over the script, each of us would play a different character and read out their lines to see how it would go. And while we were doing that, we noticed that Michael, our animation director, was really good at doing a drunk guy. He was really amazing at it, and we knew instantly that we needed to cast him. So we got into the studio with him and we recorded. And he did a really good job. We really love how he turned out and his performance is hilarious. Whenever I'm editing it and whenever anyone else is animating, they're just like laughing hysterically. It's very funny. He's a very funny guy. Having the opportunity to be a casting director was something I actually kind of enjoyed. I took extensive notes on each audition, and I looked out for stuff like who had a voice that we really liked, and who sort of sounded like Australian, because it was really important to us to have some Australian cast. Not all of them had to be, but it was important for some of them to be at least, because, well, our film is set in Australia. I also took note of like what their availabilities would like. Would they be interested in just recording by themselves, or would they want to record with our team? And this gave us a really good insight when deciding who we wanted to work with, and you know, what qualities they had, and like what advantages they might have over another person auditioning. Even if you didn't get the part, but you auditioned for our project, we're so grateful for that you took the time to do that. Like, honestly, it's so good. Like, being able to sit through all you guys' auditions, it was like, just like really fun. And like, some of you guys are just so funny. And, you know, it's just so cool having like such a wide pool of people to be able to hear all their diverse takes on our characters. Sound design is something that's always really interested me, so I was very excited that the team allowed me to be the lead sound designer on this project. It's something I really enjoy doing, and it's something I volunteered to do on projects in the past, and I think I really learnt a lot. And over the course of this project, I've definitely learnt so much. I used Adobe Audition, so I would import a video of like an animatic, and every time we got a new animatic, I would import it to make it an updated version, so it would always be working on the most recent version. And I would make all the sounds by either like recording them myself, or we ended up using this program called Soundly. It's a subscription service, and you get a wide range of different sounds, and honestly, I've had a really good experience with Soundly. I highly recommend it. Being able to like watch the animatic and like hear a sound how I want it to sound in my head, and then sort of just breaking it down and trying to figure out what different sounds I could layer to create that is a really fun experience. The problem solving aspects of that, I just really like it a lot. It's really enjoyable. Overall, I've really enjoyed working with the team. Everyone is so talented, and everyone really works extremely hard. They all try to get their work done, and they try to help out wherever they can, making sure that everyone else is feeling comfortable, they're feeling supported, and that no one's falling behind. I can show you the audition file I've been working on at the moment, and you can sort of get an idea as to what I've sort of been up to, and some of the different sounds I've made and put in, and how I've sort of been creating them.
The city is in ruins because of you. You are useless. The city is in ruins because of you. You are useless.
Where do you think you're going? Your quota can wait. Where do you think you're going? Your quota can wait.
And because we've been out here doing this sparkle shit, I'm going to lose my job. And because we've been out here doing this sparkle shit, I'm going to lose my job.
How's your weekend? I feel like we never get a break from calculus. God, does this guy ever want to put a smile on his face? I'm having trouble with this spreadsheet. 9%.
Yeah, my wife did not like it. She did not like it.
That was great.
At the present moment, our animated production is in closer towards our post-production stage. We're clean lining our animation as well as coloring and sort of doing some VFX animation on the side for our completed shots. And hopefully we'll be compiling everything together and just seeing how it looks. My main role as co-directing was being in charge of financing and budgeting. When it comes to financing, a lot of it was just talking with my co-director Lucy about, you know, where we should be putting things, just breaking down our ideas into what we may or may not need, how much money we should set aside for everything. So at the beginning, early production stages, we would set a lot of our budget aside for things that we know we wanted to do. And then when it actually came to paying for them, you know, her and I would sort of go back and forth in figuring out, oh, hey, are you happy to do this? Are you happy to do this? And then I would note everything down, keep all our receipts, etc. We even developed a Ko-Fi for our project as well, which helped give us some a bit of extra cash, about $100 extra on top of our budget. And that's just helped out amazingly. You know, we got to produce some amazing merch, some posters, stickers. With scheduling, that involved a lot of communication with our team because I had to know when everyone could do certain things like keyframing, in-betweening, and even our pre-production stage, just storyboarding, you know. I was very on the board with the team, you know, making sure everyone understood when deadlines were, what was suitable for us, when we think we could get things done. Taking into account the health of our team, because we don't want to burn ourselves out and end up producing something that we're not happy with. So that was one of the biggest things in my mind when making our scheduling, just making sure everyone was happy, consistent, and healthy, you know. Don't want to accidentally drive someone insane. That would suck.
Me personally, once this project is done, I would absolutely love to get some sort of studio job. Even though I'd love to do character animation, for me, all I really want to do is just work on animations. And if that's just refilling the water bucket in the break room of an animation studio, well, I mean, that's at least a foot in the door. My dream job title in animation. Well, I think with most animators, that's probably something like showrunner or whatever. I would love to be able to helm my own show at one point.
In the future, I sort of see myself just being maybe just a key animator. I've always loved animation, always loved drawing. It's been such a big part of my life since I was younger. So being able to continue doing that, producing animated works that I love and that other people will get to love, and then people analyzing oh wow, they've done this a particular way and that just added so much to this.
Thinking of the future, as much as I love designing props, don't get me wrong, it's really fun and I think it is an underutilized aspect of the industry, which I could see myself going into. I really did enjoy the storyboarding process of this production. I think that it's really just satisfying to dig into the emotional experiences of a character. The whole process of having to be an actor and act through a character, I think is just very appealing to me. And I think I could see myself working well within a storyboarding role and really pushing the sort of exaggeration of characters and getting to create those bigger narratives.
Yeah, I do want to go into a studio space, but particularly I would like to work within children's media, kids' cartoons, since that's kind of what I grew up and what initially inspired me to go towards animation. I have always wanted to be a storyboard artist though, so probably go towards storyboard artist, yeah.
I want to settle down on a beach house with my 4 kids and swim with sharks every day and animate little silly la-la-la-las while my kids play in the clovers. But before that, I would love to work for Toei Animation, even Ghibli, a lot of big film companies. There's a lot of local companies here too, like Fine Bark. I would love to be a director ultimately, and I'd love to study at Gobelins in Paris.
What I want to do in the future is honestly create my own comic books. There were some stories that I've been thinking of, just putting some ideas on pen on paper, and it's been there for a couple of years, just adding ideas again and again. Now, I also, if I'm lucky, I want to try get into DC and Marvel comics because I really love the art style that some of them provide. One of the stories that I've been thinking of is just creating a huge world where every continent had their own unique fighting style, or they praised a weapon type as if it was a religious deity.
Being able to work as a sound designer is definitely something I'd very much enjoy, and I'd love to do that in the future in other projects. But recently, I've also been really interested in the production of music videos. I got to work on one music video, and I'm pretty interested in being able to direct them and work with artists. I really like music videos, so that would be an amazing experience. However, being able to work in film and TV and the more traditional route would also be interesting too. I really like video editing, and I just like all aspects of video production.
So I'd be super keen to continue working on character animation, 2D character animation. It's always been a favourite of mine, and also be super keen to continue my freelance business where I make a lot of designs and everything. and I'd also be interested in potentially starting my own project. I definitely like any kind of character animation, really. I love like the really lively kind of animation, adult comedy and everything. Be super keen to start something like that of my own potentially down the track, or even working on helping other people's projects in that aspect.
I think I'd like to look at doing freelance stuff, freelance animation, but mostly character design. I absolutely love character design. It's been like my most favorite thing to do for this project. Even though it was at the beginning, I loved doing it, and even getting the feedback for what worked and what didn't work was the best part. I would love to do animation as well, but a lot of smaller scale stuff.
Wait, can we try and make a star?
Passengers will advise to board any single platform please and change the plot numbers for replacement buses. Please note, bicycles are not permitted on